The 46th session of the Senate, in the third regular session of the 16th Congress, is hereby called to order. May we ask our colleagues to rise for a minute of silent prayer. Thank you very much. With the permission of the chamber, we call for a 1-minute recess. Session is... Huh? Sino?
Really?
Pwede ba? Saan ba ako sa lunes? Tira mo na. Pwede na? Huh? Session is resumed. Sorry, son. May takot ba? The Secretary will call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senators Angara, Aquino, Binay, Cayetano Alan Peter Compañero S., Cayetano Pia S., Defensor Santiago, Ejercito, Enrile, Escudero, Estrada, Gingona, Hunasan, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Smeña, Pimentel, Po, Recto, Revilla, Soto, Trillanes, Villar, Senate President Trilon.
13 senators are present. The chair declares the presence of the quorum. The majority leader is recognized.
Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the journals of the 44th session Monday, December 14, 2015, and the 45th session Tuesday, December 15, 2015, and consider them as approved.
Any objection? Hearing none. The reading of the journal for session number 44 and 45 on Monday, December 14, 2015, and Tuesday, December 15, 2015, respectively, will be dispensed with, and the same is hereby approved.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed with the reference of business.
The Secretary will read the reference of business.
Communications. Letters from the Office of the President of the Philippines transmitting to the Senate 2 original copies of the following: Republic Act Number 10708, an act enhancing transparency in the management and accounting of tax incentives administered by investment promotion agencies. Republic Act Number 10709, an act providing for 30 days forfeitable leave privileges annually to all judges of the first level courts. Republic Act Number 10710, an act creating 3 additional branches of the Regional Trial Court in the cities of Alaminos, Dagupan, and San Carlos, all situated in province of Pangasinan, in the first judicial region, amending for the purpose Section 14, Paragraph A of Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, otherwise known as the Judiciary Reorganization Act of 1980, amended and appropriating funds therefore. Republic Act Number 10711, entitled an act creating 5 additional branches of the Regional Trial Court and 5 additional branches of the Metropolitan Trial Court in the National Capital Judicial Region to be stationed in Pasay City, Metro Manila, amending for the purpose Section 14, Paragraph D, and Section 27 of Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, otherwise known as the Judiciary Reorganization Act of 1980, amended and appropriating funds therefore. Republic Act Number 10712, an act creating additional branch of the Regional Trial Court to be stationed in Sorsogon City, situated in the province of Sorsogon, the 5th Judicial Region, further amending for the purpose Section 14, Paragraph F of Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, otherwise known as the Judiciary Reorganization Act of 1980, amended and appropriating funds therefore. Republic Act Number 10713, entitled an act creating 3 additional branches of the Regional Trial Court in the National Capital Judicial Region to be stationed in Parañaque City, Metro Manila, amending for the purpose Section 14, Paragraph D of Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, otherwise known as the Judiciary Reorganization Act of 1980, amended and appropriating funds therefore. Republic Act Number 10714, an act creating an additional branch of the Regional Trial Court to be stationed in the city of Vigan, situated in the province of Ilocos Sur in the 1st Judicial Region, further amending for the purpose Section 14, Paragraph A of Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, otherwise known as the Judiciary Reorganization Act of 1980, amended and appropriating funds therefore. And Republic Act Number 10715, an act creating 3 additional branches of the Regional Trial Court to be stationed in the city of Bacolod, situated in the province of Negros Occidental in the 6th Judicial Region, amending for the purpose Section 14, Paragraph G of Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, otherwise known as the Judiciary Organization Act of 1980, amended and appropriating funds therefore, which were signed by His Excellency President Benigno S. Aquino III.
To the archives.
Letter from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, transmitting to the Senate a copy of Circular Letter Number CL 2015-73, dated 7 December 2015, duly certified and authenticated in compliance with Section 15A of Republic Act Number 7653, the New Central Bank Act.
Committee on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies. Before I call on the Majority Leader on the agenda, the Chair wishes to announce and invite all the senators and their spouses to a centennial dinner on January 27, 2016. This is a Wednesday at the old Congress building, now the National Museum. The official invitations will follow, but I would repeat, may I request our colleagues to block off January 27 as we observe our centennial year next year, and we start with a dinner on January 27, 2016. So I would request our senators, our colleagues, to block off. We will invite all the previous senators to this memorable occasion. Thank you very much. The Majority Leader is now recognized.
Mr. President, we have some guests in the gallery. They are students from the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila, BSBA, and Human Resource Operations Management students, headed by Ms. Rose Ann Versosa, their block president. I move that they be recognized, Mr. President.
The students from the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila, BSBA, Human Resource Operations Management, headed by Ms. Rose Ann C. Versosa. We welcome you to the Senate, and the Secretariat is directed to place of record the presence of our guests.
Mr. President, with the consent of the body, I move that we transfer from the calendar for ordinary business to the calendar for special orders the following: House Bill 1948 under Committee Report Number 340, House Bill 4432 under Committee Report 341, House Bill 4458 under Committee Report 342, House Bill 5645 under Committee Report 343, House Bill 5650 under Committee Report 344, House Bill 5651 under Committee Report 345, House Bill 5652 under Committee Report 346, House Bill 6086 under Committee Report 347, and House Bill 6088 under Committee Report 348. These are all bills, Mr. President, establishing fisheries and mariculture centers. All have a common subject all over the country, in Cebu, in Surigao del Norte, in Catanduanes, and various parts of the country. So I move that they be transferred to the calendar for special orders, Mr. President.
Any objection? The enumerated House bills are transferred from the calendar for ordinary business to the calendar for special orders. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to suspend in the meantime, per the wish of the sponsor, that she go after. I move to suspend the said bills. Consideration
We
of the said
noted, although it is not yet on the floor, so it is just transferred to the
transferred.
calendar for
Okay. So
special orders.
we suspend consideration of such, Mr. President. With the consent of the body, I move that we transfer Senate Bill 2178 under Committee Report 336 to the calendar for special orders.
Calendar, yes.
This is the Election Service Reform Act, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the Senate Bill number 2178 under Committee Report 336 is transferred from the calendar for ordinary business to the calendar for special orders.
Mr. President, with the permission of the Senate, I move that we consider Senate Bill 2178 under Committee Report 336.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of the measure on second reading. Senate Bill 2178 is in order.
Mr. President, with the permission of the body, I move that the Secretary read only the title of the measure.
Secretary will read the title of the measure.
Senate Bill number 2178, an act making election service non-compulsory for public school teachers, authorizing the appointment of other qualified citizens, providing for compensation and other benefits, amending for the purpose the Omnibus Election Code, Republic Act number 6646, and other election laws.
Mr. President, I move that we recognize Senator Pimentel to sponsor the measure.
Senator Pimentel is recognized to sponsor the measure.
Mr. President and esteemed colleagues in the Senate, good afternoon. Currently, the Board of Election Inspectors, or BEI, is composed of 3 members, a chairman and 2 members, all of whom are public school teachers from the Department of Education. That is in accordance with Section 13, Republic Act number 6646. At least one member of the BEI shall be an information technology capable person certified by the Department of Science and Technology. In case of shortage, private school teachers, civil service employees, or competent citizens who are registered voters of the city or municipality can also serve as a BEI member. The BEI has the following powers and functions: conduct the voting in the polling places and administer the electronic counting of votes, print the election returns, and transmit electronically the election results through the PCOS machines, or what we should now call vote counting machines, to their respective servers. Supervise and administer voting in their assigned polling places on behalf of the COMELEC. Maintain order within the polling place and within its vicinity and keep it accessible. And even order in writing a peace officer to take into custody any person who disturbs the proceedings or disobeys its lawful orders. And perform other functions prescribed by the COMELEC, the Omnibus Election Code, and other election laws. In case of temporary vacancies for BI positions, the DepEd district supervisors prepare a list of teacher candidates as substitute BI members. But despite the central role that BI members perform in the election administration, BEI members, who are mostly teachers, are most vulnerable to human rights violations, violence, and other aggravations due to the conduct of the elections in our country. Every election year, BEI members confront perennial problems such as delayed compensation of honoraria and allowances, occupational hazards and injury, harassment lawsuits, undue charges of electoral fraud, election-related violence, and lack of options for teachers to serve or not to serve in the elections. To address key problems that adversely affect the welfare of BEI members that prevent them from performing their duties with integrity and competence, I stand before you today to sponsor and humbly seek your support for the passage of Senate Bill number 2178 per Committee Report number 336 entitled An Act Rendering Election Service Non-Compulsory for Public School Teachers, authorizing the appointment of other qualified citizens, providing for compensation and other benefits, amending for the purpose the Omnibus Election Code, Republic Act number 6646, and other election laws. Our current law compels public school teachers to serve as chairmen and members of the BEI during elections. In reality, however, non-public school teachers have been tapped by the COMELEC in previous elections. And to conform with the actual practice and to give the public school teachers the liberty to choose whether to serve in the elections as BEI or not, this proposed measure allows them to protect themselves from political pressures and considers their personal welfare by making election service optional. This bill proposes that the following shall be entitled to the corresponding honoraria: chairperson of electoral boards, 6,000 pesos; members of electoral boards, 5,000 pesos; DepEd supervisor official, 4,000 pesos; support staff, 2,000 pesos. All of them shall be entitled to an additional travel allowance of 1,000 pesos each. And more importantly, honoraria and allowances shall be paid within 15 days from the date of election. This is an improvement when compared to the 2013 national and local elections, wherein the honoraria for BI chairman and members and DepEd supervisor official was 3,000 pesos, while the support staff was given 1,500 pesos. The one-time transportation allowance of 500 was given to the BI chairman and members only in 2013. The bill also provides that a minimum of 5 days service credit shall accrue to all government officials and employees serving as members of these electoral boards and the DESO and their respective support staff, as opposed to only 3 days service credit granted by COMELEC during the last election. In the old law, no specific amount for injuries was given while in the performance of election duties. The general instruction for the 2013 national and local elections also provided 200,000 pesos as death benefits for the official or employee who died by reason of his or her election service. In this proposed measure, death benefits is increased to 500,000 pesos, and medical assistance shall be in such amount as may be sufficient to cover for medical and hospitalization expenses until recovery. The bill also mandates COMELEC to establish an equitable legal indemnification package for persons rendering election service, which shall be in the form of legal assistance and other forms of legal protection and indemnification for all legal costs and expenses reasonably incurred by such persons in any administrative, civil, or criminal action or proceeding to which they have been made a party by reason of the performance of their functions or duties, unless they are finally adjudged in such action or proceeding to be guilty of an election offense. One of the crucial points of the bill is that any person who makes or causes the delay in the payment of the honoraria and allowances due beyond the prescribed period of 15 days from the date of the election shall be liable for an election offense. In the same breath, this bill ensures that the very people whom we rely on to manage the conduct of elections in this country are properly cared for, so that they may continue to preserve with utmost pride and passion the very foundation of our democratic system, an utterly free, honest, and orderly election. And the bill makes sure that we have answered the concern that if This bill would lead to a lack of public school teachers willing, available, or qualified to serve. The bill provides that should there be such a lack of public school teachers, the COMELEC may instead appoint the following persons in this order of preference: private school teachers, 1. 2. National government employees, namely DepEd non-teaching personnel, and other national government officials and employees holding regular or permanent positions, excluding uniformed personnel of the Department of National Defense and all its attached agencies. Number 3, members of the Commission Accredited Citizens Arms or other civil society organizations duly accredited by the Commission. And number 4, any registered voter of the city or municipality of known integrity and competence who is not connected with any candidate or political party. And moreover, in cases where the peace and order situation so requires, as determined by the COMELEC, and where there are no qualified voters willing to serve, uniformed personnel of the Philippine National Police shall be deputized to render election service as a last resort. Therefore, Mr. President, my dear colleagues, I urge you to approve this bill with dispatch to show our fellow Filipinos that establishing a genuinely clean and meaningful electoral system is not just a promise we make to get their votes, but a goal we seriously pursue, befitting a democratic country like ours. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And my dear colleagues.
Thank you, Senator Pimentel. The Majority Leader is recognized.
Mr. President, to give our colleagues time to study the measure, I move that we suspend in the meantime the consideration of the Senate Bill 2178 under Committee Report 336.
So suspended.
Mr. President, with the consent of the body, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill 6012 under Committee Report 295. This bill pertains to the proposed Bell Telecommunications Philippines Incorporated franchise bill, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Consideration of House Bill 6012 is in order.
Mr. President, the parliamentary status of the measure is that the sponsor delivered his sponsorship speech last December 9, 2015. I move that we open the period of interpellations.
The period for interpellation is in order.
I move that we recognize the sponsor, Senator Osmeña.
Senator Osmeña is recognized.
Mr. President, there are no members who have registered with the Office of the Majority Leader to interpellate on the measure.
Just for the record, the Chair would like to know and spread into the record who is the majority stockholder of Bell Telecommunication. Just for the record and for the information of the Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, committee amendments.
No, before that,
we have interpellation.
just one question, Senator Osmeña, just for the record, who is the majority owner, stockholder of Bell Telecommunications?
That's the San Miguel Group, Mr. President. These are this is the group that's proposing.
Sorry.
This is the Belltel was originally organized by the group of Ed Puyat Reyes, 25 almost 25 years ago, and it has since been sold to the San Miguel Group. And this is a group that proposes to put up a third 3G, 4G rollout in partnership with Telstra of Australia.
Thank you very much. We have no more questions.
Mr. President, if there are no other interpellations, I move that we close the period of interpellations.
Period for interpellation is terminated.
Move that we open the period of committee amendments, Mr. President.
Committee amendments is in order.
Thank
Senator
you, Mr.
Osmeña.
President. On the committee report, we ask that we ignore the proposed amendment on page 6, line 18, and in its place to come up with an amendment which would fall on page 14, Mr. President. A new section 9.
page?
14, we introduce a new Section 9, and may I be permitted to read it for the record, Mr. President?
Yeah, but before that anterior amendment, there is a proposed committee amendment on page 6. Is this being introduced, Senator Osmeña?
No, Mr. President. Like the other day, we decided to change, and the committee amendment will now, that committee amendment which deals with the effectivity of the act will now appear on the last page, page 14. So
okay.
when we get there, we will propose that particular amendment, Mr.
All right. Thank you for that information. So we now proceed on page
14.
14.
We propose a new amendment, and it shall read as follows. Section 9, tax provisions. The grantee shall be liable to pay the same taxes on its real estate, comma, buildings, plural, and personal property exclusive of this franchise, comma, except on its antennas, comma, radios, comma, base transceiver stations, comma, telecommunications and electric communications equipment, comma, machineries and spare parts needed in connection with the business of the grantee, comma, as well as the self-supporting, comma, monopole and or guide towers, guide spelled G-U-Y-E-D, comma, and other similar structures and facilities on which said antennas, comma, radios, comma, telecommunications and electronic communications equipment, comma, machineries and spare parts are installed, comma, which shall be exempt from real property taxes, comma, customs duties, comma, tariffs, comma, and other taxes and fees, period. No, comma. In addition thereto, comma, the grantee shall pay value-added tax on all gross receipts of the business transacted under this franchise in the Philippines in lieu of any and all taxes of any kind, comma, nature or description, comma, including but not limited to local business taxes, comma, local franchise taxes, comma, tower fees, comma, supervision fees, comma, local communication taxes levied, comma, established or collected, comma, or may be levied, comma, established or collected, comma, by any city, comma, municipality, comma, provincial or national authority, comma, from which the grantee is hereby expressly exempted, effective from the date of approval of this act, colon, provided, comma, that the grantee shall continue to be liable for income taxes payable under Title II of the National Internal Revenue Code pursuant to Section 2 of Executive Order Number 72, which is the latter enactment is amended. No, I'm sorry. Executive Order Number 72, unless the latter enactment is amended or repealed, comma, in which case the amendment or repeal shall be applicable thereon. I submit, Mr. President.
Is such a provision, Senator Osmeña, found in the other franchises
Yes,
that we have
Mr.
previously acted
President,
upon?
we have this funny situation when the franchises are not all issued at the same time, so the subsequent winner of the franchise keeps on improving their franchise, putting one over their competitors. So we've tried to levelize everything.
That's precisely that is the
It
point.
started with Globe and Smart, and now we have this Beltel franchise.
So Globe Smart would have similar wording and tax
That is
treatment
correct, Mr.
as
President.
that's what you have read.
As a matter of fact, we are about to introduce the Smart franchise with certain amendments in January.
All right. On that premise, on the basis of that explanation, is there any objection to the proposed amendment of the chairman of the Public Services, Senator Osmeña? There being none, approved.
Mr. President, Our next amendment would be an omnibus amendment to renumber all the following sections. So Section 9 now becomes Section 10. Section 10 becomes Section 11. Section 11 becomes Section 12. Section 12 becomes Section 13. Section 13 becomes Section 14. Section 14 becomes Section 15. Section 15 becomes Section 16. Section 16 becomes Section 17. Section 17 becomes Section 18. Section 18 becomes Section 19. Section 19 becomes Section 20. And Section 20 becomes Section 21. I submit, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Our last committee amendment would fall on the last page, which is page 19. Line 15, to delete the phrase "the official gazette or in a newspaper." I submit, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
And in its place to insert the phrase "at least 2 newspapers." I submit, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
And that is the extent of the committee amendments. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Osmania. The Majority Leader.
President, I move that we close the period of committee amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Move that we open the period of individual amendments, Mr. President.
Period for individual amendments is in order.
There are no members who wish to propose individual amendments.
Any individual amendment on House Bill 6012?
There are no reservations for individual amendments, Mr. President.
I move to close, Mr. President.
Period for amendments hereby terminated.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on second reading House Bill 6012 under Committee Report 295.
Any objection? Hearing none. House Bill number 6012 is hereby approved on second reading.
Mr. President, I move that we suspend consideration of House Bill 6012.
Considerations of the measure is suspended.
Mr. President, with the consent of the body, I move that we consider the House bills mentioned earlier at the start of the session, which were transferred to the calendar for special orders. The 9 local bills pertaining to fisheries and aquatic resources centers. I move that we consider them on second reading under one's omnibus sponsorship speech as reported out under their respective committee reports. Move to suspend for 1 minute, Mr.
1
President.
minute suspension.
Ready to resume, Mr. President.
Session is resumed.
Mr. President, I withdraw my earlier motion. Instead, Mr. President, I move for the additional reference of business.
It is. Can we, before we act on the motion, 1 minute suspension?
Ready to resume, Mr. President.
Session is resumed.
Mr. President, I again withdraw my earlier motion. Instead, with the consent of the Senate, I move that we consider House Concurrent Resolution number 14.
House concurrent resolution number.
14, Mr. President.
House concurrent. Okay, in order.
Local lang, local. Mr. President, with the consent of the Senate, may we request the Secretary to read only the title and text of the measure?
Sorry?
May I
Secretary
request
will-
the Secretary to read the
Secretary
title
will read
and
the
text?
title of the measure.
House Concurrent Resolution Number 14, Concurrent Resolution amending Section 1 and the title of House Bill Number 4261 entitled an Act converting the Bacau Elementary School in Barangay Bacau, Municipality of Mandurriao, Iloilo City into an integrated school to be known as Bacau Integrated School and appropriating funds therefore for the purpose of its enrollment.
Mr. President, I move that we approve House Concurrent Resolution number 14.
Okay. All right. Any objection? Hearing none. Approved.
Mr. President, I move that we suspend session for a few minutes.
Session is suspended.
Ready to resume, Mr. President?
Session is resumed.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed with the additional reference of business.
The Secretary will read the additional reference of business.
Messages from the House of Representatives, letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 9 October 2015, it passed House Number 2185 entitled an Act granting the First Bay Power Corporation, FBPC, a franchise to construct, install, establish, operate, and maintain a distribution system for the conveyance of electric power to the end users in the municipality of Bawan, province of Batangas, in which it requests the concurrence of the Senate.
To the Committee on Public Services.
Letter from the House of Representatives informing the Senate that on 14 December 2015, it ratified the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of House Number 5587, entitled an Act allowing natural gas-powered generating plants in the country to use neat diesel as an alternative fuel during periods of existing or imminent shortage of electricity, exempting them from the requirements of paragraph 5.3 of Section 5 of Republic Act Number 9367, otherwise known as the Biofuels Act of 2006, and Senate Number 2622, entitled an Act amending Republic Act Number 9367, otherwise known as the Biofuels Act of 2006.
To the archives.
Bill on first reading, Senate number 3036, an act exempting water districts from the provisions of RA number 7656, which required government-owned and controlled corporations to remit 50% of their annual net earnings to the national government, by Senator Gingona III.
Committee on Ways and Means.
Committee report. Committee report number 349, submitted jointly by the Committees on Agriculture and Food and Finance on House number 6085, introduced by Representative Labad-Labad, entitled An Act Establishing Multipurpose Fishery Breeding Farms and Hatcheries for the Production and Multiplication of Crabs, Shrimps, and Lobsters in the Municipality of Jose Dalman, Province of Zamboanga del Norte, and appropriating funds, therefore recommending its approval with amendments. Sponsor, Senator Sinchay Villar.
Ordinary business. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, earlier in the session, we transferred 9 House bills from the calendar for ordinary business to the calendar for special orders. I move that we add to that list of House bills transferred House Bill 6085 under Committee Report number 349, that it also be transferred to the calendar for special orders.
Any
So
objection? Hearing none, so transferred.
Mr. President, with the consent of the Senate, I move that we consider on second reading under one omnibus sponsorship speech the House bills enumerated as reported out under their respective committee reports,
Including now
including House Bill 6085, Mr. President.
6085. How about House Bill 2185? This is just the one. This is.
That is not
I'm
included
sorry.
in the list, Mr.
Sorry.
President.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, please proceed. What is the motion?
Reiterate my motion, Mr. President, to consider under one omnibus sponsorship the 10 House bills dealing with fisheries and aquatic resources.
Any objection? Hearing none.
Mr. President, with the permission of the body, move that the Secretary read only the titles of the proposed bills without prejudice to inserting into the record the whole texts thereof.
Secretary will do so.
House Bill number 1948, an act establishing a research center for fish breeding and or hatchery for grouper, prawn, lobster, crab, and other high-value marine species in the Municipality of Bantayan, Province of Cebu, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 4432, an act establishing research stations for fish breeding and or hatcheries for grouper, prawn, lobster, crab, and other high-value marine species in the Municipality of Daba, del Carmen, Socorro, and Pilar in the Province of Surigao del Norte, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 4458, an act establishing mariculture development parks in the municipalities of Dirac, Bato, Baras, Gigimoto, Viga, Panganiban, Bagamanok, San Andres, Caramoran, and Pandan, Province of Catanduanes, appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 5645, on establishing multipurpose fishery breeding farms and hatcheries for the production and multiplication of crabs, shrimps, and lobsters in the municipality of Lingig, Province of Surigao del Sur, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 5650, an act establishing a multipurpose fish breeding station and crab, prawn, shrimp, and lobster hatchery in Barangay Ataatahon, Municipality of Nasipit, Province of Agusan del Norte, and appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 5651, an act establishing an aquatic research and experimental breeding station for Lake, River, and other inland fisheries in the Municipality of Babonga, Province of Agusan del Norte, appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 5652, an act establishing a prawn, crab, and inland fishery nursery in the Municipality of Calamansig, Province of Sultan Kudarat, appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 6086, an act establishing a research station for fish breeding and hatcheries for grouper, prawn, lobster, crab, oyster, and other high-value marine species in the Municipality of Sultan Naga de Maporo, Province of Lanao del Norte, appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 6088, an act establishing a provincial fisheries and aquatic resources research training, development, and product center in each of the provinces of Leyte, Biliran, Eastern Samar, and Northern Samar, appropriating funds therefore. House Bill number 6085, an act establishing multipurpose fishery breeding farms and hatcheries for the production and multiplication of crabs, shrimps, and lobsters in the Municipality of Jose Dalman, Province of Zamboanga del Norte, and appropriating funds therefore.
The Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we recognize Senator Villar to deliver an omnibus sponsorship speech for all the House bills enumerated.
Senator Villar is recognized to deliver an omnibus sponsorship speech.
Mr. President, my fellow senators, I stand here today to sponsor various local bills referred to the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Food. These are House Bill numbers 1948, 4432, 4458, 5645, 5650, 5651, 5652, 6085, 6086, and 6088 under Committee Report numbers 340, 341, 342, 343, 344, 345, 346, 347, and 348 respectively. Our committee, jointly with the Committee on Finance, held a joint public hearing last November 9, 2015 to discuss the said legislations. For brevity, I will not read the full titles of the bill and will just mention the bill's numbers and short title as we classified them in similar categories. Basically, most of them have the same proposal, so we deemed it proper to lump them up together. Among the bills I'm sponsoring are 6 bills proposing the establishment of breeding farms and/or hatcheries for marine species such as grouper, prawn, lobster, crab, and other high-value marine species in various areas. These are in Bantayan, Cebu, under House Bill number 1948, authored by Representative Salimbangon. This is under Committee Report number 340. In the municipalities of Dapa, Del Carmen, Socorro, and Pilar in Surigao del Norte, under House Bill number 4432, authored by Representative Matugas, which is under the Committee Report number 341. In Lingig, Surigao del Sur, under House Bill number 5645, authored by Representative Garay, under Committee Report number 343. In Ata-Atahon, Nasipit, Agusan del Norte, under House Bill number 5650, authored by Representative Amante, which is under Committee Report number 344. In Sultan Naga, Dimaporo, Lanao del Norte, under House Bill number 6086, authored by Representative Dimaporo, which is under Committee Report number 347. In the municipality of Jose Dalman, Zamboanga del Norte, under House Bill number 6085, authored by Representative Labad-Labad, which is under Committee Report 349. I'm also sponsoring the following bills. House Bill number 5652, authored by Representative Go, which is proposing the establishment of a prawn, crab, and inland fish nursery in Calamansig, Sultan Kudarat, which is under Committee Report number 346. House Bill number 5651, authored by Representative Amante, proposing the establishment of an aquatic research and experimental breeding station for lake, river, and other inland fishes in Habonga, Agusan del Norte. This is under Committee Report number 345. House Bill number 4458, authored by Representative Sarmiento, Colmenares, Zarate, and Ridon, which proposes the establishment of mariculture development parks in the municipalities of Virac, Bato, Baras, Gigmoto, Viga, Panganiban, Bagabanok, San Andres, Caramoran, and Pandan in Catanduanes. This is under Committee Report number 342. House Bill number 6088, authored by Representative Montejo, which is proposing the establishment of provincial fisheries and aquatic resources research, training, development, and product centers in the provinces of Leyte, Southern Leyte, Biliran, Eastern Samar, Samar, and Northern Samar. This is under Committee Report number 348. Mr. President, as these sponsored bills concern the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BIFAR, we have consulted with them and they suggested amendments based on their observation of what suitable interventions can be provided to the different geographical areas, as well as on the Bureau's financial capacity, manpower, resources, and technical capability to provide the proposed establishment of the facilities. Thus, with such consideration, the following were suggested. For the earlier mentioned bills proposing the establishment of marine breeding farms and hatcheries, House Bill number 1948, 4432, 5645, 5650, 6085, and 6086, we propose to change the name of the facility to be established. Instead of marine breeding farms and hatcheries, it can just be called multi-species marine hatchery. The term hatchery is more expansive in nature as it covers breeding, hatching, and rearing through the early stages of animal. Moreover, the identification of species that should be bred and hatched is recommended not to be specified so that BIFAR and the local government unit concerned can study the suitable species for the area. On House Bill number 4432, BIFAR recommended that only 2 hatcheries be established in Surigao del Norte, in Surigao City and the municipality of Del Carmen, not in the municipalities of Dapa, Socorro, and Pilar as stated in the proposed bill. Likewise, for House Bill number 5652, proposing the establishment of a prawn, crab, and inland fish nursery in Calamansig, Sultan Kudarat, BIFAR suggested the identification of species be avoided. Instead, use a more generic multi-species marine nursery as in the other bills cited, again to allow BIFAR and the LGU to identify the suitable species for the area. It was also recommended that BIFAR be allowed to make use of abandoned, undeveloped, or underutilized fish ponds covered by the fish pond lease agreement to make the said AUU fish ponds productive. For House Bill number 5651, proposing the establishment of an aquatic research and experimental breeding station for lake, river, and other inland fisheries in Habonga, Agusan del Norte, it was suggested that a multi-species freshwater hatchery be established instead. Likewise, the identification of specific species to be reared is proposed to be avoided to allow BIFAR and the LGU to identify the suitable species for the area. For House Bill number 4458, proposing the establishment of mariculture development parks in the municipalities of Virac, Bato, Baras, Gigmoto, Viga, Panganiban, Bagamanok, San Andres, Caramoran, and Pandan in Catanduanes, BIFAR suggested that considering that propagation of crab is a major livelihood for coastal communities of the province, mangrove crab seed banks, nurseries, and grow-out production farms be established in these municipalities instead of mariculture development parks. As in other bill, it was also recommended that BIFAR be mandated to prioritize the use of abandoned, undeveloped, and underutilized fish ponds covered by fish ponds lease agreement to make the AUU fish ponds useful and help in increasing the productivity of fishermen. For House Bill number 6088, which proposing the establishment of provincial fisheries and aquatic resources research, training, development, and product centers provinces of Leyte, Southern Leyte, Biliran, Eastern Samar, Samar, and Northern Samar, BIFAR recommended that the research function of the proposed provincial fisheries and aquatic resources research, training, development, and product centers be removed, as this is already being done by the other operating units of BIFAR. It was also proposed that the expertise, resources, and facilities of state universities and colleges be tapped by BIFAR in the establishment, management, and operation of this center. This is under Committee Report number 348. As a general recommendation, it was agreed upon during the public hearing and informal consultation with BIFAR that within 2 years after the establishment of the hatchery or the nursery, BIFAR will transfer the facility and will provide a training and phasing-in program to local government personnel on the management and operation of the hatchery or nursery. Lastly, Mr. President, with regard to the transfer or withdrawal of the hatcheries or nurseries to the LGUs or communities, the responsibility of the recipient LGU or communities on the management and operation of these facilities and the obligations of DA and BIFAR in assisting these LGUs and communities, the Department of Agriculture Secretary is being mandated to issue the corresponding rules and regulations. Mr. President, I believe that the proposed bill of our esteemed colleagues at the House of Representatives will really contribute to the growth and development of the fisheries sector and allied industry in the respective cities and municipalities in their areas. That in turn will increase the income of fisher folks who, together with farmers, remain among the poorest in our country. Based on the latest official poverty statistics for basic sectors, fishermen posted the highest poverty incidence for the 9 basic sectors in the Philippines at 41.4%, unchanged or the same level as in 2006. Poverty incidence for fishermen and farmers are higher than the poverty incidence across the entire population in the Philippines at 26.5 in 2009. As you know, the goal of the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Food, as well as this representation, is the sustainable growth and development of the agriculture sector and improving the plight of Filipino farmers and ano ba to? Hindi kumabok na, wala. Page 10. Ay, nawala ang page 10. And the sponsored bills are in line with that goal for our country, which is an agricultural country. Agriculture contributes over 10% to the country's gross domestic product, and fisheries contribute between 15 to 18% to the agriculture sector. The fisheries sector also provides direct and indirect employment to over 1 million Filipino people. At this point, Mr. President and esteemed colleagues, I seek the urgent passage of House Bill number 1948 under Committee Report number 340, House Bill number 4432 under Committee Report number 341, House Bill number 4458 under Committee Report number 342, House Bill 5545 under Committee Report number 343, House Bill number 5650 under Committee Report number 344, House Bill 5651 under Committee Report number 345, House Bill number 5652 under Committee Report 346, House Bill number 6086 under Committee Report number 347, House Bill number 6088 under Committee Report number 348, and House Bill number 6085 under Committee Report number 349. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Villar. The Majority Leader.
Mr. President, to give our colleagues time to study the measures, I move that we suspend the consideration of the measures.
Consideration of the measures are suspended.
Mr. President, there's no other business to take up. I thus move that we adjourn the session. But before that, allow me to greet all members and all the people in the gallery and the staff a very Merry Christmas in advance.
The Chair joins the Majority Leader and thank all our colleagues for the support over the past 13th Congress. And we wish the staff a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Session is adjourned until January 18, 2016 at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.